Hey, welcome back to another HVAC Success Secrets Revealed with Thaddeus and Evan, where we have good conversations with good people, and any good conversation worth having is worth having drunk.
That's how you say it.
Nailed it. Welcome back. We are still at Women in HVACR, having a blast, learning a lot, meeting some great people, finally getting a chance to meet the lovely Sarah Ghirardo live in person. We've been chatting for, 2 years now?
It's been a while. It's been a while.
And we finally get to have her on the show, so this is great. We've also got Lauren Vahey, who is from Nicholson Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning up in the Boston area. Both members of LadyTitans as well. So we want to talk about LadyTitans, the importance of that group, the value of that group, and whatever other nuggets seem to come up, because these two ladies are fucking brilliant.
You don't want me to just go on and on. So
Yeah.
Well,
It's,
I mean,
you know, it's me.
Literally the testimonial I got 2 seconds before we went live from Stacy 4, which I'm sure Stacy's probably watching. Yeah, sure she is. Was literally everything I know about marketing I know from Sarah. So there you go.
Okay.
She
I like
says,
that testimonial.
hello,
Right?
lovelies.
Oh,
So
nice
there
to
you go.
see.
Yes.
Awesome. LadyTitans. What is it? Why does it exist? Go.
You want me to go?
Yeah, you go. Tell
Okay,
the story.
so LadyTitans exists because of networking. It was a group of people that found ourselves commenting and asking questions in Facebook groups about how to run our businesses and how to set different things up or turn different things off, or how to have a meeting and be taken seriously, or how to communicate something that's really hard. And you start to build relationships with people that you've never met in real life, but they essentially help you run your business remotely just by free consulting, basically. And so Stacy, who we just shouted out, and another woman, Jessica, we're finding ourselves in the same threads all the time and asking the same questions. And then we started to just, well, do you want to text me? Can we do a 1-hour Zoom? Can you show me how you set up estimates? Or can you show me how you build memberships? Or how do you use this button or that button? And it grew from there, really. And we found ourselves having harder conversations than just how to run our businesses. We felt like sometimes we were crazy, and some of the things we were struggling with, like it had to be us. And it turns out everyone kind of has the same struggles. So we started to loop more and more people in, and then it became a public Facebook group. And then we posted to Service Titan and said, hey, wouldn't it be great if we could all get together and have like I forget what it's
Vahey.
Okay,
right?
fair. But
this is when Vahey was really into like speaking on
yes. And Jess and I are both from Massachusetts, but Stacy's in Oklahoma. And so we, half joking, half serious, we're like, you should get Stacy up to Massachusetts so we can all just sit in a room and like figure our crap out together. And he commented on the post and was like, you know what, I might actually be down for that. Here's a couple little requirements, but as long as you guys focus on each other and build each other up and have each other's backs, then we have your back. And then here we are a little over 2 years later, and we have, officially how many members? 1,300?
Officially,
something like
we have
that?
1,300. So it started with 3 2 years ago.
Yep.
And then, I got involved in the thread because of Stacy. I was on a webinar with her the first week I came to Service Titan. And Stacy just pulled me in, and I've been with the group ever since. So it's been kind of cool.
We just keep tagging all the great women we know and be like, you know this and you know that. And really none of us know anything, but together we know all the things.
Yeah.
So
we found the buttons.
I love it.
Yeah. And so every month we host 2 separate meetings. One is a LadyTitans Lounge, where we basically just have lunch together and dish about whatever's going on, or they ask Service Titan questions as well. So we'll answer that. And then the monthly meeting, we have brought out, I think, like 12 or 13 different women in the trades just to speak. We have a YouTube channel. We're recording them now, and it's on leadership. It's on mindset. It's on mental
goal setting,
any topic that,
boundaries,
they feel like they're an expert at.
Right.
Because we all have something to share, right? And we all have this knowledge. And I think that's the cool part, is really just bringing out people to speak in the trades, and especially women, because, we are an underserved population.
Giving them the space to speak.
Right? I totally agree with that. And, coming to this event, and I said it even with, and I'll say it to anybody that's here, like and I was texting my wife this earlier, and she's like, so how's the event going? In a room full of women. I'm like, well, I, for once, I'm the minority in a room, and it's a little intimidating. And so, like, I can almost feel what it would be like for a woman to also break into that. And when you go to those events, and so, like, it's a it's almost eye-opening to be able to see that from another side, right? Which is super powerful, to be able to shed more light on it. One thing that I did want to ask, you talked a little bit about, your hardest conversations you had in similar struggles. What are some of the same struggles that you guys have identified that needs more light shared onto it? I know that's a loaded question.
No big deal, right?
No big deal.
Way
We've
to
only got
ease
15
into
we've only
it.
got 15 to 20 minutes, so we got to go straight for the hard questions.
You go.
I can't even remember the question. It was like so big.
What are some of the similar struggles that you guys have talked about early on and still together with Lady Titans to this day that you think need more light shared out there?
Why am I going first? There's a lot, right? I think what you just said is coming into a room and finding your own power and being courageous and bold and speaking up when sometimes you don't speak out.
Right.
And those are the similar struggles that we all have as we show up for events and as we show up just in general at our businesses, because sometimes the table is already established and we are creating a table where anyone can pull up a chair. And so it's really finding that inner confidence to be a woman and to know your worth. I think that's really the struggles that we all kind of are finding and relate to in different ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my own personal experience that as the operations manager, I would have, a morning meeting with a room full of technicians and they're all looking at me. And part of it is probably just my assumption of what they're thinking, but there have been technicians that have come back to my office and just said, either say more about this or that's not actually right. You don't know what you're talking about. And your brain internalizes the you don't know what you're talking about more than the you did a great job stuff. So the more and more you find yourself trying to have credibility or fight for your credibility,
I think that's a big word, fight, right? Because I think a lot of women feel that fight.
It's not given. Yeah. It's not assumed, I guess. It's more assumed that if I was standing in the front of the room next to maybe our service manager, something that came out of his mouth, maybe he wouldn't have to back it up as much as maybe I would have to back it up. So, but really in talking with all these other women, what we really identified is that all anybody wants from their employer is a sense of connection. And that's not gendered. People want to feel like they belong. They want to feel part of the bigger story. And any of these high level, surface level struggles that we're having, like how come you can't upload a picture when I ask you to upload a picture? Or how come you can't remember to punch in and out? It adds more to my plate, or all of that kind of workflow stuff or process stuff that you end up internalizing and taking it personally. A, it's not personal, and B, we're all having that same struggle. So if you can just kind of put everyone on the same level playing field that they do want that connection, it lets you build a bridge between people, whether it's office staff to the field or sales to the technician team or warehouse to anybody, and of course across gender lines too. So we all just kind of found like we were trying to build the connections in our own communities and the bigger community amongst ourselves. So
yeah, Lady Titans is about connections, and that's the powers in the people. People will always be your superpower. And so however we can bring the trades out, however we can bring the women in the trades out and their allies, like, let's do it. That's why we started it, right? And that's a similar,
that's a universal
thing. Yeah. So that's what we're doing.
Well, and I love what you said about the group coming together and everyone has these problems that you think you're the only one that's having that.
Right? And then you think it's you that caused it, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, if I this has to be a me problem.
Yeah.
We have to be broken. My company's broken. Everybody else seems so great when in reality, we're not. I mean, I think we're all struggling with the same things.
Absolutely. It's really, really common. And even if they're not the same things, they're related.
Yes.
Right.
Even those that call themselves experts, you're never an expert at anything, right? You're always learning. And if you're not learning, then you're not anything.
Right. You're not improving. You're not getting better.
You're just there.
Totally.
So yeah, that's interesting to me.
Absolutely. Fight for credibility. I really wanted to touch on that part because this is something to me. One, it's eye-opening in terms of that insecurities that people have as they step into leadership, regardless, again, gender lines aside, that's real for both. And someone stepping into that role, how can you, either as their leader, helping them step into that role as a leader, or as someone who's underneath them, offer them a better feeling situation when they're walking into that spot, so that they're feeling good about who they are, and that they did deserve to be at the front of the room, and they did deserve the ears of the room.
You guys are like real light and easy today. Easy breezy.
Absolutely.
I think what helps me is remembering like the behind me in order to project forward. So I kind of fell into this industry. I hated the job that I had because I hated who I worked for. It is true what they say, that people don't quit a company, they quit a manager, or they quit a leadership team or a culture. And I ended up taking what at the time I felt like was a significant career back step, like 12 steps back, less pay, less flexibility, less decision-making power, less creativity. Just wanted to punch in, punch out, go home, not think about work until the next day. And I grew with the company, and I took on new responsibilities, partially because I like helping people and I like helping other people grow. But I also know that it's been the longest and the shortest 6 years of my life. I feel like I have learned so much, but if it wasn't for those people who took the time to teach me the little things, then I wouldn't be where I am. And that goes both ways, right? So if there's people behind me that still need that little bit of education, great. But I also know there's a world full of people in front of me.
Right.
So it really is just identifying and having gratitude for the progress that you've made personally, to be able to expand your lens and go, there's other people that need everything that I already got. And where is my place in helping those people do those things?
I love that. Anything to add?
For me, I mean, the trades changed my life. So I was a director of customer service for an alcohol company, right? And they recruited me. One of them went to an HVAC company. And about a year later, he messaged me, and I was on a honeymoon at that time. And he was like, do you want to come run customer service? And I was like, fuck no. Absolutely not. I was like, but you know what I want? I want to be in marketing. Yeah. And I was like, I have a degree. I want to go back to it. And he took a chance on me. And
sometimes that is all you need.
That's
is
all
someone
you need.
To just...
That's what I'm saying, is that you and then they just kept taking more and more chances on me. And it grew me as a person. And they sent me to leadership. They sent me to all these different, I have 150 hours of leadership classes, right? Like, it's insane. And it's changed who I am. So if I can give that gift to anyone else, I always do. I give them words of affirmation. If they're going and speaking, I give them as much love as I can, because it's the way you show up, right, for me. And I want to show up big for others. Right. And so that is, I align it to my purpose, and then I take action on that every single day.
I love it.
So
I do think having your personal why in line with your professional why helps, because if those are not in alignment, you're going to feel like you're living two separate worlds. So
that's very true. Yeah. But I think and people don't really realize this, your purpose, even in this home service business, was to help others, right? That's your why. Others are your why. And so, in marketing, stop talking about yourself, talk about them. Right. And so, like, you're always living your why. You just have to remind yourself of your why daily. Which is hard. Some days it's hard to wake up and be like, oh, this is my why.
Sometimes my why is this coffee I'm holding. And until this why goes in, there's no more why.
The why is done for today.
Yes, yeah. I'm fresh out of why.
So then sometimes you just move from coffee straight to beer.
That's right.
Looking at, I guess, a higher why in somebody's purpose and somebody's essence. And you mentioned the part about sometimes it's tough to get out of bed to continue to do what you need to do. And if somebody's going through that struggle, what sort of words of affirmation or advice would you give to that person?
Take a deep breath. You don't have to have every answer every single day. There is no magic wand, and there is no final destination. I think just as human beings, even outside of the professional world or even this industry, we're all looking for, like, when I get to whatever, the world will make sense, right? The clouds will open, the sun will shine through. I'll have figured it out. I will have made it. But the sooner you can make peace with the fact that there is no final destination, there is no end goal, there is no I've done it, stamp it, I can do whatever now. it lets you ease into the process, and it lets you be comfortable with change a little bit more and be comfortable with learning and asking for help or offering help for, to someone that feels like they're asking you for it. So that for me is the biggest thing is not every day has to be great. You can go backwards before you go forwards. I'm a living example of that because I did. And I don't know.
Yeah, no, I fail forward all the time. Like, it's super fun. No, but like you said, not every day may be great, but there's good in every day.
Right.
And so finding those little moments of celebrations of good to win, that is how I look at it. And mental health is a thing.
Yeah.
People at COVID, it changed, and remote worker, like all of that you can talk about for days. But yeah, I mean, not every day is rainbows, and it's going to be okay.
Well, and it's interesting.
It's
you
seasonal.
said COVID, and I think a lot of us look back on COVID and all the challenges that it brought, but I think it also brought people together in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And it forced people to talk to each other a little bit more
meaningfully.
Yeah. And I think because we were blocked from seeing people in real life in ways that maybe we wanted to, it forced those connections to build in the background more, but I feel like they're stronger. And our original group of Lady Titans women, we have this really strong group of people. And we actually talked about it in our most recent Lady Titans meeting, where we had all built these bonds so much to the point that one of our members, one of our people had a tragic episode happen in their family, and they needed help and support. And because we knew each other enough, we had talked about our businesses enough with each other, and we all happened to use the same system, and we knew what buttons to press, we could essentially run this person's business for them remotely so that they could go help their family. And there's not much that felt better than, 6, 7, however many people it was at the time, stepping in and going, I've got your phones, I've got your this, give your technicians this number, I can help with this. And we all just kind of rallied around this family. And it does let you zoom the lens out, and it does let you realize that the world is bigger than your own 9 to 5. And these are real people with real stories and real families and their whys behind it. Another one of us, none of us had really met in person with, maybe except for a couple of us at a Pantheon, maybe, but
we got at a gas station.
Yeah, but it was, but we all got invited to her wedding, right? So it's like how you don't hear a lot of, I've never met you in real life, but I know so much about you, and we're connected on such a deep level that I want you at my wedding on one of the biggest days of my life. So those are kind of the success stories behind the marketing. I mean, the networking
of Lady Titans,
Lady Titans, and just of building connections and reaching out and saying, this is what I need. I think people are happy to help other people. They just don't know when to do it.
Right. Yep. I love that.
Well,
I was just going to say, what a beautiful example of like the surface level relationships that we have in our life, more often than not, are shit. And even when we spend a lot of time with them.
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yep.
Or maybe some of your longest friends, you've known them since kindergarten, but you might not know what they're doing every day.
100%.
Meanwhile, this group of people that you've never seen really.
Yeah.
I went through life with them.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Right. And we went through COVID together, which was, and I went through a divorce with them. And they became a really part of my life and changed it for the best.
Chosen family is often the best.
Yeah.
I love it.
So now we just want more. We're only at 1,300 people in our family, and now we just want everybody.
And so that was my next question was for someone who is interested in this, what are the qualifications? Do you have to be an owner? Do you have to be
There are
in
no
management?
qualifications. You can be a woman, you can be an ally, you can not use Service Titan, you can use Service Titan. Just go and search Lady Titans. I think it's servicetitan.com/LadyTitans.
Okay.
And you can join for free, and join our Facebook groups, register for the meetings, and come hang out with us. Or if you want to speak, come speak.
I love it. That's so great.
Yeah.
By the way, the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Lady Titan, and it's up on the screen. It'll be in the show notes. We'll grab the Service Titan link to make sure that it is correct, and we'll put that into the show notes.
Totally not correct.
I know that this one is correct because I pulled it up really quickly and we had it on there. But the one thing that I wanted to mention, and we should probably get to wrapping this up and getting back to the event, is that it takes a village, right? You talk a lot about you know, back in the day before the advent of technology and moving distances, you know, there was a really tight knit group of people and a tight knit group of village. And I always think about it like raising kids and raising a family, that anybody could come in at any point in time, be able to help out this person if they're struggling. And that went away. And I'm so glad to be able to see this back in an industry, helping other people out with their own shit, because everybody's got their own shit. And when you can have that help, man, it goes a long way. But the other part that I wrote down is there's a book called The Gap and the Gain. And I haven't read the book, but I've read the preface of it. And I understand the concept of it is that people look too much to that end goal that you're talking about, but they don't go back to see how far they've came.
100%.
Right. And so take a moment, like when you're in that shitty day where you don't want to get out of bed and you're stuck, take a moment to pause and reflect, to say, hey, me a year ago to me today is a hell of a different person. I came a long ways. And give yourself a pat on the back, because I think a lot of times we don't actually take the time to give ourselves that praise.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I think too, nobody likes change. It actually, funnily enough, this was in a fortune cookie of mine the other day, and I sent it out. I sent it out to everybody at my company because we're going through a pretty big change right now. And it said, nobody likes change, but everybody likes progress. So everyone wants to be there for the win part of it, but the growing pains is what's hard. And so what I've tried to make a more conscious practice is recognize that anything that's a challenge right now, more often than not, it's because something good is about to happen. So the speed at which Lady Titans is growing, we have our fair share of growing pains. We have, you know, these are all type A, strong personality. We all have stuff to say. And so we're overcoming those challenges, or we're at least facing them. But isn't it a wonderful problem to have that we have so much that we want to do and so much passion? Because the alternative is that we're pulling teeth and we're like, come on, guys, please, please. When in reality, we're like, hold on, everyone, just hold on a second.
We're like,
Nobody
wow, this is a train.
Yes. Yeah. So it's looking at challenge as to use your word, as an opportunity, and why that challenge is in front of you takes the pressure off a little bit. It makes it hurt a little less.
Right.
Yeah.
I wrote down one thing, because it wouldn't be a show without a Tony Robbins quote. Trade your expectations for appreciation and your whole life will change.
Yes,
right.
That's exactly right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Stop expecting to be at a certain place and putting judgment on yourself for not being there yet.
The place doesn't exist,
It
first
doesn't
of all.
exist.
Yep. Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
Well, the link, by the way, is in fact servicetitan.com/LadyTitans. You nailed it. So that's on the screen. Will be in the show notes. As we wrap up, we of course have one last patented question for you. What is one question that you wished people would ask you more, but don't?
Don't look at me like
No, I think we're gonna put this one on Lauren.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe how are you doing? How
Mm.
are you?
Mm.
How can I help?
So Lauren,
How do you take your coffee?
how are you? How are you doing?
Today I'm really good.
Yeah?
Today's a great day. Yeah.
Perfect.
Not every day's a great day. Change is hard, but today I'm really good. I'm surrounded by a lot of really wonderful people and I'm learning a lot, and I just feel really grateful.
Awesome. And how can we help?
I think posting that link was a big help.
Yeah.
Done. Check.
Thank you for helping.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, Sarah, Lauren. Appreciate you both. Thank you for coming on. Thanks for sharing some knowledge. Thanks for being vulnerable. And we appreciate you a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
until next time,
Cheers.
cheers. Well, that's a wrap on another episode of HVAC Success Secrets Revealed. Before you go, two quick things. First off, join our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/HVAC Revealed. The other thing, if you took one tiny bit of information out of this show, no matter how big, no matter how small, all we ask is for you to introduce this to one person in your contacts list. That's it. That's all. One person. So they too can unleash the ultimate HVAC business. Until next time, cheers.